All right, well, research methodology is what positioning you're taking in terms of the epistemological, ontological positioning. So that will distinguish you whether it's a qualitative or a quantitative methodology. And so any student that's looking at that, you actually have to decide what area you're sitting in. That's, however, having said that, there's boundaries are being blurred because there's a move towards mixed methods. And we might want to talk about a little bit about methods later, but that actually has, it's actually opening up quite interesting dialogue about whether that approach, which crosses the boundaries of the paradigms, whether, how you actually ensure validity within each of the boundaries that you're working in.
How does an educational leader choose a particular approach or methodology to undertaking his or her research?
Well, it really depends on what you're researching. So that's the first thing. What am I researching? What's the best method to get that information? And thirdly, what then is the best approach to take? So they're the series of questions that you have to ask yourself. And the approaches are many and varied depending upon which method you select. So as a student, as in research methodology, you have to have a broad brush understanding initially, so it enables you then to do deeper investigation about the things that might appeal to you. So probably the complexity is greater in qualitative research because the field of qualitative research is expanding significantly in terms of all different approaches that one might take.
That leads me to a question that's not on my sheet, but I guess I'm interested. You talked about the literature research, the Lit Review, and how important that is. And you're looking for similarities in topics, prior research done that resonates or with your own particular context or problem. But there's also the issue of looking for methods, right? So you could find similar topics but dealt with in different ways, researched in different ways. Is it important to try and replicate prior studies using the same methodology to see if the results are different, or is it more important to try and use a different methodology to find new results?
It's a good question, but again, it depends on what you find. And there's lots of research that will test a theory or test a concept. And so, taking this is what this person found, but does it apply to this particular context? And you get a lot of that with some of the big theories around various issues. So, is this something that can be, is this similar if I take this other context and research it? The other approach is that you actually take a problem and say, a lot of people have looked at that, but I'm actually going to, and you can take it to the extreme and say, discounting all that, I don't even going to think about that, and I'm just going to just go and ask people, and then I'll build a theory. So that's where your grounded theory approach happens, where you are saying, I'm not going to be, I don't know how you do that, which has been the big controversy in terms of grounded theory, but I'm not actually going to look at what other people have found. I'm actually going to go and explore totally from the ground up and build a theory, build a substantive theory from that. And then I might look at the literature and see how it fits in. Because people will say that you always come with some prior preconditions, pre-knowledge about the area, otherwise you wouldn't be interested in it. And that you would, no one's free of context, no one's free of bias. So you build a worldview based on your beliefs and assumptions. And so even to set aside those is probably, there's a question whether you can do that. If you read Corbin and Strauss, then they would say you can do that. You can set aside that if you're the way you actually collect data enables you to do that. Probably the most quoted researcher in grounded theory these days is Sharmas, and she actually developed a grounded theory approach that actually acknowledged that people will come with some understanding about what they're researching, but use a lot of the techniques of data collection analysis that a grounded theorist would use. Most researchers will read everything they can about that particular methodology and read studies that have used different approaches. So they're clear about any concerns other researchers have had with particular approaches to that, the limitations and delimitations of the study. So you're very conversant. It's like doing a literature review in that area. You have to actually know about studies. You have to know where the concerns have been, where the limitations are, and the delimitations are in terms of that particular approach. And having done that, then you have a better sense of whether this is really the approach you want to take, and things that you might have to be concerned about.